Welcome to Midlife Schmidlife, the online community for listeners who want to redefine the middle years and recreate their lives lived to the fullest. Join our host, Liz Applegate, as she interviews guests over the age of 40 who are turning their maybe somedays into today and going after their dreams. Let's get the party started.
Hey, Schmidlifers. Welcome back to the Midlife Schmidlife podcast. I'm so happy that you are here and so excited for you to be joining me in this episode of the Midlife Schmidlife podcast during the series that I am calling Now More Than Ever. My guest today is Paula Jenkins from the podcast Jumpstart Your Joy. She's actually was one of my first guests ever on the podcast. Paula and I have been friends since 2015 when we both attended the Courageous Living Coach certification. And she actually was the one that helped me start this podcast. She just has a wonderful class and she does workshops on helping people start their podcasts and everything that is involved with that. And because of the fact that she is a life coach, she really can help you with a lot of things that some people don't really realize that is involved with launching a podcast, like having your voice be out there, like being okay when you stumble across your words, all these, when you say, all these things that you feel very vulnerable in sharing. She is just a wonderful support. And our conversation today is about choosing joy and why it's so important, especially during the time that we are in. Right now, as I am recording this, it is May 20th, 2020, and we are in the midst of a global pandemic. I know that there are a lot of states that are opening back up, and that in itself has created a new roller coaster of feelings for many, many people. And as we navigate these crazy times together, I just really wanted to bring this conversation to light because I do feel we have a choice. And Paula just has such a wonderful take on choosing joy and such a great reminder during our conversation. I do want to also invite you to come over and join a challenge that I am hosting next week, May 25th through the 29th. It's so I'm going to clean up the language a little bit, but it's the Get Stuff Done 5-day challenge. It is a free challenge for women entrepreneurs, as we may have found ourselves during this time not really even knowing how to show up in our business. And during this whole time, there could have been a host of things on your to-do list that you just haven't gotten to. And maybe there were items on that to-do list that you thought, okay, now that I have the time, I will launch my website, launch my podcast. I'll put together that program that I've always wanted to put together. And yet here it is, and we're nearing the end of May, and maybe those things have yet to even be started. So next week during this challenge, you get to choose what you want to focus on, and we will have opportunities to come together for group coaching. I will have a virtual virtual working session where we will all come together on Tuesday evening and collectively use that energy of us all working together. We will talk about your mindset around your to-do list, discover ways that you work best, look at systems that could be very helpful for you now. Get real with your time, and most of all, we'll do some exploration about what it's like to be a woman in business right now with everything going on. And we will have office hours, group discussions. It's going to be a wonderful time together, and it will be a wonderful opportunity for you to get some momentum around that to-do list. And what I'm saying is that you can turn that to-do list into a to-do list, and just with some focused energy, honestly, of just a couple hours a day, you'll have the support of me and other people within the community. So I really hope that you will join in. You can head over to lizapplegatecoaching.com and find the link for that there. Again, the link will also be in the show notes, and I definitely hope that you join in. Now, before I head over to the conversation with Paula, one thing I did want to point out is that we were plagued with technology problems that morning. It's just nothing that we tried to do wanted to cooperate. So you may find some bits and pieces through the recording where the sound sounds a little warbly, or there may be some space where it sounds like we skipped over parts of the conversation, and we just did the best that we could. It was such a wonderful conversation that I didn't want to miss out on sharing it with you. So if you could please just be a little patient, know that I tried to clean it up the best that I could, and there still is such goodness in there. And also just realize that that's just part of being in the time that we are, right? Like, we have technology and it has its frustrations, but it also has such wonderful benefits, such as the fact that I could be in Texas talking to my friend in California, and now I'm sharing that message with you. So please look over the technical difficulties that we had and settle down with your favorite cup of coffee or glass of wine and join in on the conversation about choosing joy. Hey, Paula.
Hey, Liz. How are you?
Hey. I'm awesome, despite the multiple technology things we've gone through this morning to even get here.
Technology.
Technology, yes. Oh, goodness gracious. So thank you for saying yes to be on the podcast. Normally we would be streaming live into my Facebook group, and that is not cooperating, but I am going to share that into the group, and we will also share this on the podcast. And before we get started, and this is Paula Jenkins from Jumpstart Your Joy, and I want you to introduce who you are. And yeah, I just want the rest of my listeners just to know how wonderful you are. So I'm going to let you introduce who you are.
Okay, I think I'm back.
You're back.
Can you see me? Hi there. So I'm Paula, and yeah, my podcast is Jumpstart Your Joy. Let's see. The short version of what I do is I am a podcast producer and host and consultant and mentor. So I help people start their shows through my boot camp, which is Jumpstart Your Podcast. And then I also work with clients on shows that they love and want to hand over kind of the production to somebody else. And so that's been a lot of fun and really exciting to see some shows grow.
Yeah, well, you actually were the one who helped me launch Midlife Schmidlife back in, I can't believe it, 2016. So it's crazy. But yeah, I took your boot camp and I was launched and out the door. So yeah, Paula and I actually met in 2015. We both participated in the Courageous Living Coach certification, and we found out that we share a birthday, which is pretty awesome.
It is pretty awesome.
It is awesome. So we had a kind of a weird birthday this year, being in quarantine land, but it's pretty quiet.
We can try.
The lovely working from home and sharing internet.
When you never thought you would need to share that.
No, and you had such the mom face when you were just talking. I loved it.
The realities.
The realities, yes.
But yes, we did have a weird birthday. I mean, for me at least, it was really lovely because like my family all jumped on Zoom, and Sean had said like, that's the husband. He was like, let's all get on, and at least we'll meet each other and say hi or whatever. And so, but it was really sweet and totally unplanned that each then separate family brought in a cake with a candle, and like as we sung, there were 3 cakes.
Oh,
and then they all ate their own cake, clearly. I mean, we weren't in the same room or anything. So, right. But I mean, that's a really sweet memory. I feel like there's
very sweet.
Those memories are weird. But like something to take away, and we can share with our grandkids later.
Exactly. Yeah. It's going to be such a weird thing, right? Like wondering like what your son will learn like in high school about this time, because he's in elementary school right now. So just to think about that, it's just kind of like, and we'll be there like, I remember those days.
Yes. Yeah, I remember in some group it was like, do you think you're going to develop any odd quirks? And I was like, well, I hope to. I mean, frankly, like let's hope there's something like, and I said, but the one I hope I do not develop is some sort of like hygiene like, where somehow I neglect the mustache or facial hair. And, and everyone's like, well, there's grandma. But, during the pandemic, they ran out of tweezers. Don't talk about it. Like that's the one I don't want. So I'm just going to put that out there for the universe. Okay. There's a lot of things I'm open to here, but
that one, not so much.
Keep this up.
I'm going to check on you, Paula. We're going to do weekly Zooms from here on out.
Yeah, I can put up, send tweezers.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Anyway, so there you go. I didn't know we were going there today.
Oh no. That's how this goes. That's how this rolls on these conversations. We just go where they take us. So, but I feel like that's a good segue. I'm just going to segue right into like, so how are you doing like during this time other than worried about facial hair?
Well, I mean, good, right? Like, so it's such a strange balance of like really looking for moments that are like chock full of something to clearly delight in, like a Zoom birthday party or laughing about what our takeaways from this could be. And then there's like some really hard moments. I think, the reality of any of us that were, so I'm in Northern California. We've been shelter in place for 8 weeks at this point. And it's kind of bizarre because we just heard today that LA County, I believe, will be in shelter in place through August or August 1st-ish. So that's weird. Like that's a long time to be in spaces with people. And especially when the habit has been like, I, carved out and created a business that can run right here. And so to share this space with other people, it's, I mean, we do it and it's okay, but that isn't how the pattern had been for the year before that. So, I think it's like getting used to a new, I don't want to see it. It's not a new normal because this isn't like, I think we even talked about that back and forth, maybe on a Facebook post. So it's like, this isn't normal in any way, but getting used to like, how do we stay in good spirits and how do we talk through the stuff that comes up and how do we make sure people have what they need is kind of, at least in this house, how we're dealing with it.
Yeah, because for you and I mean, I'm the same way. Like I did my business out of home, out of my house. We've had to, my youngest son had a change in his internship. And so he's moved back home. So, now all of a sudden my small little house has gotten smaller with my 6'5" son and his big dog. So now we have 3 dogs running around the house. Wow. And so it is just kind of balancing so much of our own emotions up and down. I know that my energy this week, I had felt like I've learned never say, oh, I think I'm doing better. Because no. So this week it's been, my energy wise has just been kind of crazy. So just noticing that and emotions and tensions and you are managing the education of your son as well. I mean,
yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, we could talk about that for a second, but like to touch on the energy piece, I think that really is important to notice, especially, I mean, this is interesting to me because I had said for a while, I thought I was probably an introvert, but I did not realize how much of, I may be frozen again, how much of like even highly sensitive I am. Like I hit a point where I've had enough input for the day, and then it's it's because I've even heard other people feel like, or say that they feel like they're so highly sensitive that even people clicking a pen drives them nuts. And I'm like, ooh,
Yes.
well, but I have
Right.
gotten there because it's constant, like I have to, and I want to, I don't feel put upon. This is not victim language, but like I want to be mindful of how I'm presenting, and I want to try and be helpful to the people in my house. And I don't want people to feel like I've been putting them off or whatever. So,
Mhm.
but then I do hit the stage and I'm like, I'm on the patio. I will see you
Yeah.
later. So
Yeah. But I
that's
think
been super interesting. Yeah. Go ahead.
but I think recognizing that that's what you need and
Yeah.
asking for, or maybe telling, is fine, right? Like that's how you need to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Giving one another the permission to do that as well,
So
so
true.
just being aware of that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And then on the others, I mean, you mentioned my son, and for people who don't know me, I have a 9-year-old who's in 3rd grade. And that's been interesting. So I know I want to put this out there that I know a lot of teachers are going above and beyond. And I do love teachers. My parents were both
Mhm.
teachers. And the group of 3rd grade teachers at this specific school has decided that they do not need to teach. This is how they've interpreted the contract, and they are providing worksheets and nothing. There's no instruction. Um, and so that's really gotten me.
Yeah.
Like that hits hard because it's like you pull away a lot from a kid when they can't. I mean, Zoom is what it is. It's not great, but I've seen many teachers show up imperfectly. Interestingly, you know, we can get to the resolution of that in a second, but
Yeah.
I think imperfect is the best way to show up right now because it's teaching people a lot.
Mhm.
Um, but that the decision was we're just going to have you come to the school in a pandemic and pick up physical worksheets. You saw my eyebrows raised there.
I did.
I'm not down with that. And
Oh
so,
my
but it also
gosh.
became this thing where, okay, is this something that's worth the fight? And where does me raising my voice about it come to a conclusion? And because there's only so much energy I can put into it, I've got other stuff to do.
Exactly.
So I've emailed everybody. I've had conversations with principal. I've emailed the school board. I've emailed the superintendent. And the answer I've gotten back is not satisfactory. They've said,
Mhm.
well, we can't do anything. So and they've also said this is also a very interesting time because people are seeing what unions in school districts do and can do.
Ooh, right.
Um, so it's been political and bizarre, and I don't want to go after certain people for sure. Like I get everyone's kind of in a weird
Mhm.
place, but it's also like you're taking away so really hard, and
Mhm.
that's been one of the hardest things for me actually. Is like
Yeah.
I don't really even care what he might learn on Zoom, but it would be nice for him to like kind of hang out and see his teachers okay and all that.
Yeah. There's so much of that, honestly. And yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been I think the thing that if I'm taking something away from it, I'm seeing that I need to honor what I need. I've done what I need, which is I spoke my mind,
Mhm.
even though it was uncomfortable,
Right.
and I got some pushback that was also very uncomfortable. But now I think I'm done,
Mhm.
and that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because I can see, like, if we were not during this time, how you probably would still keep pushing. Like, the whole thing would be different, and the
Mhm.
outcome would be different. And now it's sort of like, hey, I have to be okay with this not being the outcome that I originally wanted.
Yeah, exactly. Or that even seems satisfactory. So,
Right.
you know, during the middle of that, we started looking at like what are charter schools? Are there any other schools we could transfer to? Like, so
Mhm.
that I think has some potential, but then it's also a change for a kid that we
Exactly.
wouldn't have made that if it had played out. But anyway, so that's one of the harder things. Some of the
Mhm.
nice things is like our patio, which is right out there.
Mhm.
Um, we, took out the old rug we hadn't yet thrown out, and, it's indoor, outdoor. We set up the patio like it's an extra room. So
Yeah.
it's a covering, and that's nice. And I think it is a lot about, I mean, even if I'm looking at Joy, and I could even point to this folding screen behind me, which came this week, I think some of it's saying yes to the things that make this time, not knowing how long this time will last, but making it doable. Because the story there is like I had a cardboard box behind me with a drop sheet, like a painter's drop cloth,
Right.
for probably the first month. And like it provided the background. And the reason I did that was because the kitchen is right here. I'm in the kitchen, and it was not tenable to have the kitchen we use for every meal with 3 people here, like to just pretend like we're going to clean that up every day. We're not. So really the thing to honor there was I was like, I'm going to buy something that feels a little prettier, that feels like it was meant to do this. And it was amazing when it came in. It feels nice.
Right.
I feel like I'm playing fort. Like, or like we can't do something that feels good right now. Like it was almost like I was afraid to exhale. And that's what that thing was reminding me of. Like, it's bad. You got to bring in the old box from the garage and cover it with a sheet. Like, that's where we're at. So I think and that is actually probably what exactly I was feeling. But I think if anybody's there, if you've done that because out of necessity you felt like things are it's getting to be bad. Things are bad, and you could still pick something that feels a little bit lighter. And also this is, like it tells me there's future. It tells me there's hope. It tells me like this was a good choice whether or not we were in the middle of a pandemic. Like
exactly.
On the other side of it, the refrigerator box with a drop cloth.
Too much.
Never a good choice.
Well, it served its purpose, but
and I'm going to wish it well.
Yes. I kind of had flashbacks of when you and I would be like coaching in our car and recording podcast episodes in our closet and stuff. So, there's a time when all of that is okay, and then there's a time where you get to make a new choice. So
yes, exactly.
Yes.
Well, I think both those things teach us too. Like, this is actually the thing that I need to make this feel better. Like for us recording in our car, like we're going to do what it takes to make it work, and to make my podcasting fort. Like I was going to do what it takes, and I actually really like the privacy of it. But yeah. I think seeing what works and then like making the modification to make it not feel like a bizarre temporary decision out of total desperation is probably a good move.
Exactly. And just a little upgrade. Like I would have never known you were in your kitchen. Never. I would have never even known. So, and it's just a little upgrade. And
No, I'm just kidding.
It's funny. So me on the other hand, like this is remnants of me having to clean out a closet and doing some shuffling, and so that pile changes, but the pile hasn't changed much. It just changes contents. So.
Also totally cool. Like, it's kind of like, what do you need to do? I mean, because that's the other thing is like, it's our space. And I mean, like I've pulled stuff out and been like, even jokingly on Instagram, I put a packet of like, I think it was Tylenol PM gel tabs I found from 1999. Like, it's good to go through these things and like get rid of them. So
exactly. Oh, well, besides the fact that you are a really good friend of mine and we always have lots of laughs, and I really love your message about your belief that joy is a choice. And I wondered if you would be willing and open to sharing like how you came to that point.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love talking about joy. I even have it like right here. Here, I'll get too close. You can see my wrinkles.
Right.
Joy.
Oh,
hangs there all the time. But yeah, it got to me. Well, so Sicily. Picture it, Sicily. I'm kidding. If I'm one of the Golden Girls, I think I am Sophia.
Yes.
I just need a wig.
I can see that.
But let's see. So my journey to finding joy and kind of unpacking what it meant in my life started, I mean, probably way back, right? Like anytime you kind of look in the past, you probably see what your present is and your messages. And I know when I was a little kid, I would even, when people said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I would say happy, because
Oh.
I wouldn't answer
Mhm.
with like the thing because I didn't know it. And it's
Mhm.
interesting to look back at that because podcasting didn't exist then,
Mhm.
so it was kind of like maybe I was onto something. But then um, in 2010, I had my son, and it was a very long labor and 56 hours, and um, was
Lordy.
not easy at all. And
Mm-mm.
going through that, I was diagnosed with PTSD. More behind the scenes there that we could unpack some other time. But what it led me to there was I have this little baby, and he's cute and he's fine and he's huge now. And in the same moment, I could see how amazing he is, but I also didn't feel like I was that same person that really wanted to be happy. Like there was a piece of me that fell away and that I couldn't find. And it was very weird to me. And so in that, I saw that it's sometimes super hard to find your way back to joy. But I also knew that there was something calling me beyond that place of feeling like I couldn't connect with happiness, or that I wasn't the joyful person I usually was. And so I feel like that in some way was joy calling me out. I mean, calling me forth. Um, because it was like, no, you can figure this out, and what we're doing right now is no longer acceptable. So I found a therapist, um, who told me, you need to share this story when you're ready.
Here we are.
um, yeah, and it was that. So like in that moment, kind of out of my mind, frightened and like not sure what things meant even, I dug in and decided I'm going to choose that other thing. And I think that, like I said, I think that's joy. It maybe wasn't like joy in its explosive, exuberant form, but it was like, no, you're here somewhere. I'm here somewhere. And so that's kind of the nugget of it. After coach training, 2015, or during it, I decided like what I wanted to do as the marketing arm, or the like, the content that people might find me with, the wide net I would cast would be podcasting. And so I started Jumpstart Your Joy. And at that point, that word joy just kept bubbling up for me. As did the quote from Henry Nouwen, which is, joy does not just happen to us. Joy is a choice, and we must keep choosing it every day. And it's it's one of those, Brene Brown has her anchor quote about face down in
Right.
the arena. And that one, I mean, we all love that one too, but the joy one kind of settles in and hits me in that same space, because there's all sorts of little bitty bits about that I can keep, like I keep digging in deeper. And so that knowing joy doesn't just happen to us. I mean, especially like maybe in a pandemic when you're in another really hard place, we could decide that yes, what we see in our realm and what we're noticing is all really hard, and like we're being, I don't know, like almost like a victim stance. And it's true, it is hard.
Mhm.
And it's another and
Yes. Mhm.
of, we can choose to start to notice things. Like I keep looking out the window because there's an artichoke plant that's 6 feet tall out there.
Mhm.
Wonder of wonders. It's feeding me.
Yes.
Like that's amazing. There's also a really cool, it's a harrier, like a falcon, a hawk that
Mhm.
has, she flies above with a baby, and the crows play with that. And like you would like, that's amazing too. Like I don't want to go all, I don't know, like woo on this, but I think you can choose. You can choose to be
Mhm.
like, I can't leave my backyard, or you can say, I could notice everything in my backyard. And so
Right.
that's the kind of difference. And I think, especially when things get hard, it's that choice, and it's like kind of almost the gap moment of, another one of my favorite things that kind of comes from Wayne Dyer is, it's your choice. You can either choose to act out of love, or you can choose to act out of fear. And I feel like
Mhm.
love and joy are, they're sisters, or whatever.
Yes.
But their vibration is similar, and the way you
Mhm.
feel when you feel them is similar. And I think joy is the same thing. Is when I get in the gap moment of being able to make a choice. And that's so gap moment for people would be that moment in between where there's a something that hits you and then you make a response. So somebody steps on my foot, I can decide like, oh, they didn't mean to do that. Or I can yell obscenities. It's that little gap
Right.
moment. And if you
Mhm.
catch yourself there and you go, yeah, I'm about to act out of fear, then you could choose something different. You could choose,
Right.
I'd rather do something that feels like love. I could choose, I'd rather do
Mhm.
something that feels like joy. So that's kind of,
Yeah.
in the nutshell,
It's
that's my
beautiful.
dance with joy.
It's beautiful. I have
Thanks.
goosebumps just listening to you talk about that because your
Oh,
face just lights up and
oh, I could go on.
um, yeah.
Well, and it's funny because I wouldn't have guessed when I chose that as the topic for a podcast that it would be my message, like, and that would be the thing that I just can't stop talking about along with
Mhm.
podcasting. But because I think when I was back in the day, like I had a former blog, Welcoming Spirit, and I felt like I couldn't find the thing. And so
Right.
from a marketing perspective, which is also my other background, that's an interesting thing to unpack because I think once you
Mhm.
find it, you can't stop talking about it. But when you don't know what it is, you're also like, what is it?
What? Yes. Been there.
Why can't I find it? Yeah,
Been there. And just how naturally something, when it does hit you, it's just
it's
kind of
like,
like, oh, I've really been talking about this all along and I just didn't realize it, kind of a
totally. Yeah.
feeling. Yeah. Yeah. So do you feel like, because you talked about that gap moment, and I feel like it takes a lot of practice probably to recognize that. So do you feel that it's we talk about like I talk about courage being a muscle,
Yeah.
being, there's all these places in our lives that confidence actually is kind of a muscle. Like you have to practice it to grow it. You have to um, practice courage to grow it. And do you feel that joy is the same with that?
Yeah. Um, I feel like there's a couple ways I could go with that one too. Like
No,
I
that's
think
all
there
right.
is the bias, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't I think we were all hearing more about that. Like when you start to notice joy more often, then your
Mm-hmm.
brain is going to naturally start to see it. I mean, it's that same thing when you're like, now that I'm thinking about yellow, I can't not see yellow. I
That's
see it
right.
everywhere. So I think it's the same thing. And I think it's interesting you brought up courage because the thing that I'm thinking of is the courage habit
Mm-hmm.
by our mentor, Kate
Mm-hmm.
Swoboda or Kate Courageous. And I've been thinking about how she talks about, I mean, and science has proven that our brain will put things into habit because it's easier for us because it's multitasking all the time. So it will just start to do things. And I'm betting joy is that same thing. Like if
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, okay, we're processing. Yes, we noticed that bad thing and that bad thing. Or
Right.
we've taught it, oh, look, there's something cool. Oh my gosh, look, there's that hawk
Yeah.
again. Or I
Mm-hmm.
see the hawk every day now and I never saw it before. So I think it's
Yeah.
the same thing as joy. It's out there, it's flying around.
Right.
You have to notice. Um, but I think there is, like, it also takes some courage to say yes to notice it because
Mm-hmm.
humans, I believe, and having talked to some people who work with grief, are very hesitant to lean into the high, like the stronger emotions on either end. It's kind of frightening because, I mean, kind of to go with your good girl rules, even, we don't ever want to be, and maybe it's more women than men, I don't know. We don't ever want to be too much. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you're like bubbly and happy and joyous, that's too much. And when you're feeling sad and overwhelmed and allowing yourself to be in that space, it feels like too much. So
Too
I think a
much.
lot of us moderate to the middle and try and stay clear of either strong
Right.
emotion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's an interesting point because we both know that when you start like filtering and trying to put yourself into this middle like box and you start filtering either end, how much of your life you're really missing, right? You're like
Yeah.
in this tiny little box. And if you're filtering out the joy, or if you're filtering out the extremes of grieving and all of that, you're also filtering out the joy because you can't let yourself out of that box.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And once you allow yourself to even start to feel either one and work through it and sit with it and maybe work with a coach if you feel frightened and it's like too much and you don't know what happens if you open up that box of emotions. One, you'll see it's not that scary. We can all do really hard things.
We can.
And two, you start to feel more, I think, joy once you've worked through the grief or sadness or the hard parts. Because otherwise, I mean, I could see if I look back at myself, I would have been stuck in that very like kind of afraid space of, I don't know what to do. I don't know where the happy version of myself went. And, but I would have, if I'm afraid to go in and tackle the hard stuff, then I'm also stuck here.
Right.
Yeah.
Very much a choice for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm like, I want this conversation to just go on and on because I love talking to you, but and I just love this subject.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So for anyone who's listening, what would you recommend, like, to be there? What would be a good start where they could start to choose joy in the midst of what's going on?
It's a hard thing. And I think one of the things that struck me, the first question I ask everybody on the show, if they're a guest, is what brought you joy as a child? What were your earliest sparks of joy? And it just felt like an easy entry. Like it's an easy way to get people to talk. But the thing I've heard and that strikes me right now is kind of the top 5 answers on the board are be in nature, do something creative, read a book, hang out with a friend, hang out with animals or view animals. And really all of them are available to us right now. I mean, I know that sounds cheesy, but if you're like, yeah, whatever, if you're grumpy about this answer, I would say that even if those top 5, if we're playing the Family Feud game, they're not yours, ask yourself the question of what brought me joy as a child. And then also ask yourself, and what's the current version I could do now? Now, you might not really like that the way that I'm hanging out with a friend is here on Zoom.
Right.
I would much rather be in person with you this.
I would too. But I'd take this over nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think there's joy. We laughed pretty hard. So I think we're experiencing some joy here.
Because I was in a shitty mood before we got on here.
I had just gotten a really ugly email and I'm like, oh, but we've moved past that. We felt it. We moved past it.
Right.
So I think one of those things, and if one of those 5, so nature, reading, friends, creativity, or pets, animals. There's a lot of webcams out there. Cincinnati View. If you have not seen Fiona the hippo, look her up. She was born premature. She lives in Cincinnati.
She's adorable.
Like a year and a half old, and she's funny. So there's those options, and if not, I think there's something you could determine that used to bring you joy, and you could fit it, a version of it, to fit the pandemic and your shelter in place or whatever it is.
Yeah, I have a bird feeder right outside my window, and I can't tell you how much joy that brings me. Now, I've had to put all kinds of squirrel guards on the darn thing, and the damn squirrels are still getting in it and stretching the spring, and I'm having to adjust it. But honestly, I could just sit there. Sometimes I just sit there and I just watch them, and I take 5 minutes out of my day and I'm just watching that. And it's just sort of I don't know that I would have, even though I worked from home, I don't know that I would have allowed myself to take that time. And that's something I want to take with me forward, right? I feel like, for you, it's been 8 weeks in. For me, pretty similar because my son is in Seattle, my oldest. And so we were very aware of what was going on before most of Texas was. So, but I'm at the point now where I'm asking myself, well, what is it? And Texas is opening back up. And that's another conversation for another time. But I'm not going anywhere, y'all. I'm still home. But I am beginning to ask myself, what is it that I can take forward? Because I don't want to get through this and then just go back to normal. What a waste. What a waste of an opportunity, I feel. And so this is just to say, I feel like just really looking at how you can choose more joy in your life and start practicing now. Like, what a great opportunity to start practicing that now.
Yeah, totally agree. I think one of the astronauts, we could probably find I don't remember the source, but
That's okay.
was asked, how did you, when you were in isolation, basically, floating above the earth, that had to have been lonely, how was it that you mentally stayed in the game and felt, positive about it and didn't just feel isolated and like you're out in the middle of space? And one of the things she said, I feel like that one's really important.
Yes, she
said was that she started looking for the things that she would only be able to experience in that moment, meaning never again, or maybe not, will she be that far above the earth and be able to look down and see Asia or, the ice caps or whatever. And never again will she be able to like drink something because it's floating out of the air, So if there's that version too that you could try on and be like, never again will I have this much time with my family. Like, how can you reframe it to be the never again will I? It might help, because if you can see what you can cherish right now, that's going to make it easier. And if you can see the goodness that's available right now in this moment, that also becomes like, it's kind of, what's sweet about this? And if it's not, and if you've got a cardboard box behind you, like, what can you change? Like, what's the thing? And it might not be that you can buy something, but maybe you could be like, yeah, we just got to get rid of that. Or I would like to change where I'm doing my interviews or whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. Make that choice.
Yep.
Paula,
joy is a choice.
That's so true. So true. So where can people find you? Because I know they're going to want to listen to Jumpstart Your Joy now. And also, I'd love for you to share if anyone is interested in starting a podcast or launching a podcast or has a podcast and needs a producer. Where can people find you?
Well, thank you. So the podcast is at jumpstartyourjoy.com. It's also everywhere you listen to podcasts. So my favorite right now is Spotify, just because it's really accessible on both Apple and an Android. And I feel like Android for a while there wasn't getting a fair shake. So Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it's the gorilla in the room. Let's see. If you are looking to start your own podcast, you can check out jumpstartyourpodcast.com. And that has all the information. There's also a free podcast challenge that you can find on jumpstartyourjoy.com. And yeah, I mean, if you want to email me with questions about a podcast, it's just jumpstartyourjoy@gmail.com.
Awesome. And from someone who has gone through your program, and I just know how valuable it was, and to have the support. It wasn't like just here's a PDF and check off this checklist. It was definitely support. I remember when I launched and I remember sharing, oh my God, I just launched my podcast and I just want to go to bed and cover my head.
Yes.
Because it was such like a vulnerability, and then look, years later, here I am, like, riffing on we were supposed to be doing a Facebook Live, riffing on Facebook Lives and, just putting conversations up there. And so, yeah.
Well, and I know from the experience too, it's like it gets easier, even though it feels totally vulnerable. One of my favorite takeaways is that there's only one first time. You know what I mean? So like once you put it out once, everything after that, I already did the thing once, and now it's not as hard. So I love your show, and I'm so glad you're doing this series.
Yes, thank you. And thanks for saying yes to being a guest. And I will have all the links that you shared and the quotes in the show notes. And so, Paula, thank you so much for sharing how to choose joy now more than ever.
Thank you for having me, Liz. It's been a treat.
Thanks for joining Liz for the Midlife Schmidlife podcast. Remember, some days are never on your calendar until you put them there. Until next time.